Christmas period, as the old year draws to a close and we prepare to enter a new one, I thought it was an ideal time to put together a facts video all about the new year. This video primarily contains facts about how different countries and cultures celebrate the new year, with some extra random facts sprinkled in as well for your enjoyment and relaxation. And as always, I will offer some of my own opinions on some of the facts as well. So without further ado, it's time to lay back, relax, and let yourself drift away as I whisper facts about the new year. The new year is the time at which a new calendar year begins and the old one ends, and the calendar's year count increases by one. Many cultures celebrate the event in some manner or other. In the Gregorian calendar, the most widely used calendar system today, New Year occurs on January the 1st, also known as New Year's Day. This was also the first day of the year in the original Julian calendar and the Roman calendar after 153 BC. New Year's celebrations are not new. The concept actually dates back to 2000 BC. The Mesopotamians used to celebrate New Year, and I think I pronounced that word correctly, the Mesopotamians. The 1st of January as New Year was never a standard practice. Romans, for instance, celebrated March the 1st as New Year. Some other cultures went for winter solstice or summer equinox. The 1st of January was accepted as New Year in 46 BC by Julius Caesar. England and the American colonies of England adopted the date a long time later in 1752. The month of January derives its name from a two-faced god named Janus. Janus's one face looked forward while the other looked backward. New Year gives date back to ancient times when the Persians used to gift eggs, symbolizing productivity. That sounds pretty good, I have to say, especially if you enjoy a nice omelette or something. I prefer my eggs in scramble form the best. They're really easy to make. I'm not sure how others make them, but I whisk the egg in a bowl, pop it in the microwave for a minute or so, and that's about it. And then I put it in between two slices of toast, sometimes with a chicken slice as well, and you have yourself a delicious scrambled egg and chicken toastie. Anybody who knows me knows how much I love my toasties. They're one of my all-time favorite snacks to make. Baby New Year has been a symbol of the event since around 600 BC, starting in ancient Greece when an infant was paraded around in a basket in celebration Dionysus, the god of fertility and wine. Dionysus, I think that's the right pronunciation. There's quite a few words within this video that are a little bit tricky to pronounce, but I'll do my absolute best. The baby represents a rebirth that occurs at the start of each new year. Whatever New Year traditions we speak of are actually meant for bringing good luck. For instance, eating black-eyed peas on the day of New Year is believed to bring good luck in several parts of the United States. There is an Estonian practice of eating 7, 9, or 12 meals on the eve of New Year. They believe that eating that many meals will give them the strength of that many people in the year that follows. I thought I was reading that wrong for a second. 7, 9, or 12 meals on the eve of New Year. I wonder how that works exactly. I physically couldn't eat that much unless the meals are very small, perhaps. It doesn't state, but can you imagine trying to dance in the evening with a belly full of food? It's not a good idea, but that's an astonishing fact. I actually used to know an Estonian guy some years back. I don't know him anymore, but I wish I had asked him about this particular practice of eating 7, 9, or 12 meals on the eve of New Year. I would have been very interested to get his perspective on it as an Estonian person. After the French Revolution, France briefly used a new calendar based on a decimal system, which included 10 days a week, 10 hours a day, 100 minutes per hour, and 100 seconds per minute, beginning at year 1. Finnish people have a weird tradition which goes by the name Olimtumansi. And again, there's another word that's quite tricky, but I think that might be the correct pronunciation. This is all about telling fortunes. A small amount of lead is melted in a small pan using a stove. The melted metal is then thrown into a bowl full of cold water. The liquid metal solidifies, and the resulting shape of the solid metal is then analysed in candlelight to tell the fortune of a person in the coming year. The ancient Hawaiian New Year was 4 months long, or was forbidden. People stopped working, and the people spent time dancing, feasting, and having a good time. Wow, that sounds like a lot of fun. I wonder when they stopped that custom. 4 months of just chilling out, dancing, eating good food, etc. Sounds like heaven. People of Denmark practice throwing dishes at the doorsteps of other people. This is believed to bring many new friends to the person on whose doorsteps the dishes are thrown. Denmark also has a custom of making an evening meal ending with grantige. This is actually the name of a dessert, which is actually a cone-shaped cake with a steep slope. The cake is then decorated with flags and firecrackers. Lobster and chicken are both considered bad luck foods to eat on New Year's. According to superstition, it's because of a lobster's ability to move backward and a chicken's ability to scratch itself backwards, so you should avoid both of these foods on New Year's. Oh dear, I'm pretty sure I eat chicken most New Year's. It's the main sort of meat that I eat, and I have it with a lot of my meals, so yeah, that's probably explains why I have such terrible bad luck in general. In the Icelandic capital of Reykjavik, the fireworks display on New Year's Eve is one of the largest in the world, and most fireworks sales fund rescue operations in the country. Long Player is a self-extending composition by British composer and musician Jem Finer, which is designed to continue for 1,000 years. It started to play at midnight on January the 1st, 2000, and if all goes well, it will continue without repetition until the 31st of December 2999. Wow, that sounds awesome. I'm definitely going to check this song out later. That's such a fascinating fact that there's a song that will be playing for 1,000 years. I think that's amazing. Spanish tradition is to eat 12 grapes at midnight of the 31st of December. Whilst eating these grapes, Spaniards will make wishes. This tradition is believed to bring good luck for those who practice it. This grape eating tradition started back in 1895. Can you imagine if you only had 11 grapes? What would you do? There wouldn't be any shops open to buy a new bunch of grapes, but I'm sure there would be some kind soul who give you one of their grapes. I do actually know a guy online who is of Spanish descent, and he now lives in America, so I think I'll give him a message and ask him about this particular custom and get some of his thoughts on it. There is a music festival every New Year's Eve in the Antarctic called Ice Stock. In the Netherlands, Dutch people launch fireworks and burn Christmas tree bonfires on the streets during New Year's Eve. The reason they do this is that burning Christmas tree bonfires signify purging of the old, and launching fireworks refers to welcoming the new. Yeah, I'm not a fan of bonfires, as you may have learned in a video I did recently on, I think it was Guy Fawkes Night. I just view them as unnecessary pollution, and our climate is fragile enough as it is without adding to the troubles of it with bonfires, but I can see the symbolism in why Year's Day in 1976, a man named Danny Finegood changed the Hollywood sign to Hollyweed as a college prank in order to celebrate the decriminalization of marijuana. In Japan, the bells in Buddhist temples are rung 108 times. They do this to welcome the god of New Year, known as Toshigami. In Greece, it is common practice to find cremita or onions hanging on people's doors. They hang the onions on their doors on New Year's Eve, wishing their children's goodwill. Greeks also have the tradition of breaking pomegranates right at their doorsteps. This tradition is believed to bring good luck and prosperity. On New Year's Eve, residents in Johannesburg, South Africa, collect old appliances, carry them up to apartment building rooftops, and toss them down to the streets below. That sounds pretty dangerous, I have to say. I wouldn't want to be there on New Year's, to be honest. Unless I was safely on top of a building, I guess. It's amazing learning about all of these different cultures and what they do individually on New Year's and how vastly different a lot of the customs are. It's really what makes the world such a fascinating place, I think. New Year's Eve in Belgium is known as Sint Sylvester Vurenvond. People in Belgium toast with champagne, and children write letters to godparents or parents on the day of the new year. Ethiopia has 13 months instead of 12, and they celebrate New Year's on September the 11th. New Year is celebrated by several special foods in different countries. For example, in southern US, Ireland, Germany, and Italy, leafy greens and legumes are associated with financial fortune. In Thailand, they celebrate their traditional New Year's Day with a state-sponsored multiple-day water fight. Now that sounds like a lot of fun. I would be down for that for sure. I remember when I was a kid we had water fights in my street in summertime, as I'm sure a lot of kids did, but we used to get water balloons from the local shop, which came in a little packet, and I had one of those high-powered Super Soaker 500s or whatever model it happened to be. I can't recall exactly, but it was so much fun. Oh, to be young again. Japanese eat long noodles on New Year. Long noodles signify long life. There is another tradition in Japan, in Akita, called Namahage, in which grown men dress as demons in order to scare children into behaving for their parents. What? Seriously? The poor little kids, I wonder, do they actually get scared by this, or do they know if it's just a tradition and understand what it's all about and why the men are doing that. I hope so. Otherwise, that's kind of cruel, but also kind of funny at the same time. In Portugal, Hungary, Austria and Cuba, pork is a standard New Year food, and it signifies prosperity and progress. Prior to 1753, Britain celebrated the New Year on March the 25th, also known as Annunciation Day. Furthermore, 1752 only lasted 9 months, as the dates from the 1st of January to the 24th of March, as well as September the 3rd to the 13th, were skipped in order for 1753 to begin on the 1st of January, like in other countries. In the USA, you might have heard the term dropping the ball. This refers to a ball that begins dropping in New York City's Times Square at exactly 11:59 p.m. The ball goes through a minute-long descent and hits the ground at the stroke of midnight. Okay, so the term dropping the ball is literal. They do actually drop a ball. I have heard the term before, but I had no idea that they literally drop a ball. I'd like to see that actually, and how exactly they time it for the ball to drop in exactly 1 minute. It's quite interesting, I think. The dropping of the New Year ball in New York is a tradition that began in 1907. Currently, the ball is made of Waterford crystal, but was originally made of wood and iron. The annual tradition of gathering in Times Square for New Year's started as a party to celebrate the opening of the New York Times building in 1904. Over 200,000 people attended. 2,000 pounds of confetti are dropped in Times Square every New Year's. And in 2015, wishfetti became a part of the tradition. People write their wishes for the new year and submit them to the wish wall in Times Square or online if they prefer. And those wishes are turned into the confetti that falls over the crowd at midnight. America has another popular New Year tradition, which is known as the Rose Bowl. The tradition started back in 1890, featuring the Rose Parade in Pasadena, California. The parade features floats covered with millions of flowers. Instead of a ball, Miami, Florida sees in the new year with a giant orange. The raising of Mr. Neon, as he is known, a 35-foot sunglass-wearing metal fruit, has been a tradition for over 30 years. Long before it was used on New Year's Eve, a ball on top of England's Royal Observatory in Greenwich was dropped at 1 p.m. every day, age increases 1 year on New Year's. So, if you were born on December the 29th, on New Year's Day, you will be considered 2 years old. Superstition dictates that at midnight on New Year's Eve, all doors to the house must be opened to assist the old year in finding its way out. Until the old year leaves, the new year will be unable to come in. Russians celebrate the new year twice. Firstly on January the 1st, and then again on January the 14th. The New Year's kiss started with the Romans. Romans are credited with the kissing tradition because of their Saturnalia festival. It was a celebration honoring Saturn, the god of time, where all social norms went out the window. Many of the celebrations influenced the Christmas and New Year's festivities that became the focus when Christianity took over the Roman Empire. Yeah, I think this is the most popular tradition here in the UK, to kiss someone at midnight. It's really the only tradition I knew of previous to making this video. The island nation of Kiribati is the first to celebrate the new year. Kiribati, also known as Christmas Island, is located in the Central Pacific. They celebrate throughout the nation at each village's meeting house, where all social and political activities take place. Wearing red underwear on New Year's in Italy will supposedly bring good fortune in the coming year. It's also considered the colour of fertility, so for those hoping to conceive, it's considered extra lucky. Enjoying a glass of champagne is a common New Year's tradition. Originally popularised in the court of Louis XIV, the associations with wealth and royalty trickled down to the middle classes. Over time, champagne became associated with celebration, and in the 19th century, newspapers began to associate champagne with holiday family gatherings. By the 20th century, champagne became highly popular on New Year's Eve, and it's now a staple of New Year's celebrations. Greece, Mexico, and the Netherlands go for ring-shaped pastries and cakes, which signify that the year has come to a full circle. Oh wow, that means donuts aplenty. A great excuse to eat a big box of donuts on the new year. There's actually an ASMR channel that has come to mind that I love called Lloyd's ASMR, and he does some terrific role plays, and one of my absolute favourites is you, the customer, being served in a donut shop by Lloyd, and I really love this channel, so yeah, be sure to check that one out, especially if you love role plays. And he's also a really great guy. He does some live podcasts and things like that as well, so yeah, feel free to check out his channel, Lloyd's ASMR. Most English speakers traditionally sing the song Auld Lang Syne. It originates from Scotland and was first published in 1796 by poet Robert Burns in the book titled Scots Musical Museum. The literal translation of Auld Lang Syne is old long since and actually means times gone by. Yeah, I'm familiar with the song Auld Lang Syne. I think most people are. I'm pretty sure I know the lyrics to it, which I'd learned from an episode of Mr. Bean, which is quite random, but there was a New Year episode of the show, and they sing it briefly when Bean's two guests put his clock forward when he's in the kitchen. They pretend it's midnight so they're able to leave early. That was a really great show. And finally, the new year is usually considered to be the best time for making resolutions. Resolutions usually mean people want to give up some bad habits, but resolutions may not necessarily be about habits. The most common New Year resolutions include quitting smoking, losing weight, staying healthy or getting healthy, saving money, and getting more organized. I think all of us make some sort of resolution, but how long do they really last for? Most of us probably not very long. I usually say I'm going to eat better this year, and it lasts about 5 minutes as I get stuck into some chocolates or sweets I get at Christmas by 5 past midnight. But yeah, it's all good. If you really want to change something though, I believe you can. So it's all down to willpower and desire to how much you really want to change an aspect of your life. But yeah guys, that is just about it for this Whisper Facts episode. But I hope you enjoyed a brief insight into what some nations and cultures around the world do to welcome in the new year. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit the like button. Consider subscribing to the channel if you're new for plenty more fact videos like this one. And let's make the coming year the best one yet for the channel. Thank you for joining me. A very happy new year to all of you watching, whatever you do to celebrate. And until next time, rest easy, sleep well, and I hope to see you again very soon for another video.